Chapter 11, The Genius Lady. The Life-Changing System. User, Bei Chen. Age, 18 years old. Level, 1, 41/100ths. Description, you still need 60 points to level up. Instruction, if you wish to change your life to what you have always wanted, proceed with the following missions. Mission Dashboard. Mission 4, Save a genius young lady who is going blind, 30 points. Mission 5, Take a night's rest, 5 points. Further instruction, the order of mission completion is irrelevant. After you are done with the tasks assigned to you, you will be given a chance to receive special skills or items at random. The skills or items will give you a better life. Bei Chen read the screen with satisfaction. He only needed 60 points more to level up. He was surprised about the fact that Mission 5 was really easy though. What a piece of cake. The boy tapped to see more instructions for Mission 5. Mission 5, Take a night's rest. Instruction, you've completed many missions today, so your body might be worn down. You need to have enough sleep. Reward for success, win 5 points. Penalty for failure, none. After reading through the details, Bei Chen smiled faintly. It appeared that this life-changing system really did care about his well-being. He proceeded to check out the instructions for Mission 4 to see the whereabouts of the lady who was going blind. Dash. Mission 4, Save a genius young lady who is going blind. Instruction, a young woman, who is a computer science genius, is going blind. Her temperament is very gloomy right now. Vision is her life. If she loses her ability to see, the woman will have suicidal thoughts. If you give her magic glasses at Xingxiang Park, she will be very grateful. Reward for success, win 30 points. Penalty for failure, lose 30 points. He focused his attention to where the green arrow was pointing without sparing the mission details another glance because he had seen them before. After giving this lady magic glasses, there was nothing else to be done. Just another easy mission like the rest he had completed. Where the end of the arrow pointed was right in front of him. Bei Chen gazed at what was in front. Suddenly, he saw a woman in a white suit. She was sitting on a long marble bench, appearing absent-minded. Though the lady was several meters away, Bei Chen could clearly see that she had a flawless figure. Her legs were long and slender under black stockings. She wore a white skirt slightly above knee length. Her face was so beautiful, like an angel in heaven. Her skin was pale and spotless. Her 2 eyes were a breathtaking caramel brown. Her long hair was also brown and tied back. She was a beautiful young lady with a ponytail. Pretty, Bei Chen opened his mouth wide in astonishment. His eyes widened while staring at her with a dumb expression. This woman made his heart beat fast. It was the first time in his life that Bei Chen had seen a woman this beautiful. After a while, he returned to normal. The man exhaled a little. She's so beautiful. Bei Chen admitted that he had never seen such a breathtaking woman in his life. After he turned 18, his life was spent in prison. How could he have come across a beautiful woman? He thought that anyone who got to marry this woman would be a very lucky man indeed. She was both beautiful and a genius. If the guy who would get to marry her was not called lucky, then it would be very strange indeed. Too bad we're living in different worlds, Bei Chen mumbled softly to himself. Even though he had never fallen in love or dated a girl, it did not mean that he did not want to have a girlfriend or get married. Back then, he was just too focused on studying to make his parents proud that he did not pay attention to this type of thing. When he was in prison, the thing that he realized, which was one of the things he had regretted the most, was the fact that in this lifetime, he would never get to have a loving family of his own, like how his parents did and how he was born, as the outcome of love between two people. What he uttered to himself was true. He and this genius lady really were living in different worlds. She was really out of his league, from economic status to looks. There was nothing that would make Bei Chen an equal match to her. This was the reason why he had sighed previously as well. Bei Chen shook his head and chose to stop thinking about this matter. Let's get this mission over with and go home. He chugged down the rest of the cola in one go and stood up from the bench. Bei Chen threw the can into the bin and looked left and right for a bit. When he saw that no one was there, he sent his thoughts to the white dimension ring that he was wearing on his index finger. Suddenly, beautiful gold-framed glasses appeared in his hand. It was clear that after Bei Chen had obtained the glasses, he had put them inside the dimension ring. The glasses were not in a transparent state anymore. They appeared right now as a normal object that anyone could see, like normal glasses through and through. Bei Chen stared at the glasses for a little while. He put them in the sleeve of his jacket. The top he was wearing today was a long-sleeved black jacket over a t-shirt. His lower body was in black jeans. The net cost of his outfit today was only 300 yuan. Bei Chen could be characterized as a normal 18-year-old young man with a slightly good-looking face. Chapter 12 Care for some fortune-telling, sister? Bei Chen stared at the genius lady who was still daydreaming on the marble bench, not moving anywhere. He looked at her for a while before deciding to approach her to get the mission over with and go home. Not long after, Bei Chen was near the marble bench where the genius woman was sitting. Seeing her up close made him fall under her spell even more. She was truly beautiful, even more beautiful than when he was looking at her from afar. Being closer to her, Bei Chen could roughly estimate her age. In his perception, the woman was probably around 20 to 21 years old, not much older. His heart pounded a little faster as he could smell a refreshing scent. This scent was the scent from the genius woman's body. Bei Chen was confident about it. He shook his head a little to get rid of the feelings. The boy tried to adjust his manner to be as normal as possible before walking up to her slowly. "Sister, can I sit with you?" When he reached the long marble bench she was on, Bei Chen smiled and spoke with a normal tone of voice. The reason that he called her sister was that he was in the body of an 18-year-old boy, not a 30-year-old man anymore. Calling her sister would make approaching her easier, he thought. The genius lady snapped back from zoning out. She looked up at his face before lowering her head again without paying any attention to him anymore. Bei Chen got chills down his spine from locking eyes with her earlier. Her eyes were extremely icy. So icy that even his 30-year-old self could not help but freeze. He had never expected that someone who looked like an angel when absent-minded would become an ice queen upon looking. But he managed to calm down quickly. Bei Chen took a deep breath and said to himself softly in his heart, "I need to get this done and go home quickly. Looks like this pretty girl is not in a good mood. If you won't say anything, then I'll just take a seat," Bei Chen said without waiting for her to speak a word or raise her head to look up again. He did not choose to sit next to her but left an arm's length of distance for fear that it would anger her if he got close. The genius lady did not pay attention to him at all. She just sat there, looking down at the grass, her mind filled with sadness. After she had woken up, she found that her vision got blurry wherever she looked. She tried putting on her glasses, but they did not help at all, so she went to the famous hospital of Singzhou City to get her eyes checked. After consulting a renowned physician, she learnt that both of her eyes were losing their vision. Putting it in simple terms, she was about to go blind. The only way to cure this was to have an organ transplant, which she did not at all want, though the physician said someone had donated their eyeballs before passing away. The reason for her refusal was because she did not want to change the eyes her parents had given her, even though that meant not being able to see again. This woman seriously did not want to have an eye transplant. This matter made her so depressed and down-spirited that she could not carry on working. She stopped everything she had been doing and went out for a change of atmosphere at Singxiang Park. In 1 week, I'll lose my ability to see. What should I do? The genius woman thought to herself with sadness. Her angelic face was painted with sorrow. Even the grass in front of her right now looked blurry. "Sister, what are you doing here?" While she was beside herself with sadness, the woman heard the voice of the stranger who was sitting next to her. She turned to look at him a little but paid no attention to him all the same. She thought that this young man was just trying to hit on her like the ones before him. It was clearly not the first time she had experienced this, but it had been recurring quite often. Every time she would pretend not to notice. Bei Chen was not at all surprised that the genius woman did not pay attention to him. He knew very well that this was what usually happened when people were approached by strangers. They would act in this very same manner. The worst-case scenario would be to call the police on them. He pondered things for a while, trying to find a way to give her the magic glasses. If he just gave them to her out of the blue, she might not take them. Besides, that would seem suspicious. Suddenly, it was like a light bulb went off in his head. Bei Chen immediately came up with a plan. He turned to look at the genius lady. Even while turning her profile to him, she still looked unwaveringly beautiful. "Sister, do you want to have your fortune told? I'm very good at it." This time she would not even look at him. The woman kept looking down without taking her gaze off the grass in front of her. Her beautiful eyebrows, however, furrowed, showing her dissatisfaction towards this boy who was trying to court her. Bei Chen did not care much about her attitude because he knew how he was going to play this. He believed that the success rate would be 100% with this one. He stood up and said casually, "Too bad you're not interested, sister. I saw a sorrowful aura coming off you, so I wanted to help a little." After having said that, he turned around and gradually walked away while mumbling softly, "Too bad this pretty lady is going blind." His voice made the flawlessly beautiful body of the genius lady shudder violently. She looked up right away. Her eyes were fixed on the back of the boy who was walking away. She cried out at the top of her lungs, "Stop!" Her loud voice made Bei Chen halt. The corners of his lips curled up into a smile. It was obvious that this had been part of his plan all along. Chapter 13 Rage. Bei Chen slowly turned around to look at the genius lady. Her face was extremely solemn at this moment. "What's the matter, sister? Change of heart? How did you know that I was going blind?" the genius young lady asked. Her cold gaze was locked on Bei Chen's face, though what she was seeing was quite blurry. Her mind was filled with suspicion and panic. She wondered how this young man had discovered that she was losing the ability to see, because she had not told anyone about this, not even her parents. She was the only one who knew. Her reason for not telling anyone was that she did not want anyone to worry. So, when Bei Chen told her that he knew she was going to lose her vision, how could she not be suspicious? Panic and incredulity rose up within her as well. She might have believed this man was stalking her if she had known him previously. Bei Chen blinked several times. He looked at the genius woman and smiled a little. "I'm a fortune teller, sister. Just checking your destiny a little is not a hard thing for me." The woman turned quiet. She did not say anything for many seconds. Her eyes remained locked on Bei Chen, not knowing if he had lied or told the truth. She did not know him, so she was not sure how trustworthy this man was. Above all, she thought he was approaching her with a romantic interest. If he had not mentioned her going blind, she would not even have spared him a glance. "Sister, if you don't have anything more to say, I'll have to excuse myself. It's 5:30 now. I won't be home on time for the evening TV drama," said Bei Chen. Of course, he did not really want to go home now. He only wanted to spur her on a little. Bei Chen wanted her to ask him to tell her fortune, for which he was going to say random things and give her the magic glasses. Afterwards, he was planning to tell her that fate had brought them together. The genius lady showed hesitation on her face. "You can really predict the future?" "Of course. If you let me check your fortune, you might not go blind." His words were like adding fuel to the fire. The woman's body shook a little, though she still did not believe what he said. Even a famous physician could only give her an eye transplant. How could a mere 18-year-old young man have a better way to cure her blindness? He was clearly just making things up. There was no way she was going to believe him. "Fine then. You can give it a try and tell me my fortune." But in the end, she gave in to her curiosity. The lady accepted Bei Chen's offer to tell her fortune as she wanted to know what he was going to say about her future. Bei Chen smiled at her before walking over to sit beside her. This time he chose to sit very close to her, with only a hand's length of distance between them. This made the genius lady frown. She glared at him with icy cold eyes. "What are you doing? I'll have to read your palm. How can I check your fortune if I'm far away from you?" Bei Chen explained calmly. He had seen several shows featuring famous fortune tellers, so he knew that there were several ways to tell someone's fortune. Palm reading was one of them. To boost his credibility, Bei Chen had to sit close to her. The genius lady remained silent, though her eyes and demeanor were enough to express her displeasure that he was sitting so close. "Show me your palm. I won't take long. And for a beautiful lady like yourself, I won't charge you for my services either. Usually I'm quite expensive though," Bei Chen told her with a smile. He was also trying to behave himself. Sitting this close to her, he was able to breathe in her sweet smell, which made his heart beat fast and threw his emotions into a turmoil. He felt that it was very not befitting for a 30-year-old man like himself to lose his cool just because of a sweet scent coming from a woman who happened to be many years younger than him. However, he was not to blame. Bei Chen had never been close to a woman before, much less a beautiful one. The genius woman frowned a little. She felt that she did not like this boy for some reasons, but she still did as she was told, extending her silky pale palm towards him. Bei Chen looked down at her pale delicate hand. He found it very beautiful, and if he could touch it, it would definitely be very soft. The boy shook his head to push away impure thoughts. After reading her palm for a few moments, He looked up to meet her cold gaze and said in a neutral tone of voice, "Sister, your luck is indeed good. You're not going to go blind. Don't be ridiculous. Are you just messing with me?" The woman erupted into anger at Bei Chen's words. She felt that it was indeed a mistake to let him tell her fortune. He was only spewing nonsense out of his mouth. How could it be that she was not going blind? Everything was so obvious that it did not require a second thought. His words were just rubbish. Bei Chen was not at all surprised by her wrath. Anyone would have been as angry as she if caught in a similar situation. He did not say anything, merely pulled the beautiful gold-framed glasses out of the pocket of his jacket. He stood up and at the same time, prepared to hand them to her. Chapter 14. Bewildered. Though she saw Bei Chen stand up from the bench he was sitting on, the genius woman's rage did not decrease at all. She stared at him coldly as if he had been enraging her for several years. Bei Chen did not care about her icy gaze though. He held the magic glasses in his hands and asked, "So you don't believe what I told you? Who on earth would? Do you think I'm dumb?" The woman stood up from the long marble bench. She widened her eyes to glare at him with anger and prepared to turn around and walk away. But before she could do that, Bei Chen said, "If you don't believe me, sister, there's nothing I can do. But don't leave yet. I have something for you. You're not talking about those glasses in your hand, right?" She did not take her leave but remained there to listen to his words. The glasses in his hand were exceedingly eye-catching, which was why she took notice of them. "You're right. These are magic glasses. I made them with the magic spells that I know. If you wear these, you'll be able to see like a normal person even though you're blind. And if you continue to wear them for a while, your sight will return to normal. You won't be blind anymore." Bei Chen told her calmly, but at the same time was prepared to deal with her wrath. "Rubbish!" the genius lady bursted out in a cold voice. She felt that the more time she spent with this boy, the angrier she became. It looked like he was toying with her emotions about her impending blindness. "Do you take me for a 3-year-old who would believe this nonsense? Calm down. Just wear these and you'll see. If they don't do as I've claimed, you can just throw them away. I'm just asking you to give them a try," he said while offering her the magic glasses. For Bei Chen, just this woman taking the glasses would be enough. His mission would be complete, and he would be rewarded 30 points. Therefore, it was not at all peculiar that he would cope with her bad temper with great patience. The genius lady did not answer. She went quiet, eyes locked on the beautiful gold-framed glasses in Bei Chen's hand. She stared at them for a long while because her sight was now all weak and blurry. Everything was so unclear. After taking a closer look, the woman was overcome by a sense of awe, all because she saw that the glasses frames were made of pure gold. She did not greatly enjoy wearing accessories, but she was knowledgeable enough to realize what was genuine and what was not. She had never imagined that this 18-year-old boy would have glasses made of pure gold. He must be the son of a rich family whose wealth is in its second generation, otherwise, there's no way this guy would have customized glasses made from gold like these, the genius lady thought to herself. At the same time, the woman felt disgust towards Bei Chen. She clearly had the misunderstanding that he really was the son of a rich family whose wealth was in its second generation, pretending to wear normal clothing worth a few hundred yuan just for the purpose of courting her. "Fine, I'll take them." She still took his glasses. In her eyes, they were quite beautiful, and it was also one of the ways to alleviate her anger. Taking the glasses meant she would get to make the boy in front of her lose something precious without getting anything from her in return. She reached out her hand to take the gift. After handing over the magic glasses to the woman, Bei Chen turned around and bolted. He ran away quite fast, disappearing from the blurry sight of the genius lady in a flash. He fled was because he did not want to run into complications after handing over the gift. That very problem was the effect of the magic glasses. After the woman wore them, she would definitely feel flabbergasted. Then, Bei Chen would definitely be interrogated about how he made the glasses, even though he had already lied to her about making the glasses with his magic spells. Bei Chen could only hope that he would never run into her ever again, because he did not want to tell her anything about the life-changing system. The genius lady felt sudden shock when she saw Bei Chen speeding off like that. She could not see him in her field of vision any longer because her eyesight was very hazy. What on earth? The lady could only make her remark with confusion. She could not follow through with what was happening. The woman did not understand why Bei Chen would hurriedly escape after giving her the gold-framed glasses. After a while, she shook her head helplessly. It looked like this guy she had met was actually bonkers. She lowered her head to look at the gold-framed glasses in her hand, flipping them around to study them and realizing that they were indeed made from real gold. That guy is really the son of a rich family whose wealth is in its second generation. Or else, there would be no way he could have had these glasses custom made, she mumbled before pulling apart the temples of the glasses and putting them on. As soon as she put them on, her eyes almost doubled in size with bewilderment. Her vision was no longer cloudy, but clear as day. What's this? Her lips parted slightly, letting out a raspy sound. She could now see very clearly. Her vision was no longer blurred. The genius woman blinked multiple times to make sure that what she was seeing was real. The scene in front of her was indeed a confirmation that she was not wrong. Her heart raced and her breathing grew heavy. The woman inhaled deeply, trying to calm down. She took the glasses off and found that her vision reverted to its cloudy state. What happened exactly? What are these lenses made of? How can I see everything so clearly? Her eyebrows knitted with curiosity and bewilderment. She could not understand how only these glasses could clear up her vision, unlike the many other expensive eyeglasses she had tried on today. Chapter 15 Low-Grade Martial Arts Technique. Bei Chen got back home at a little bit past 6 in the evening. He parked his bicycle at the side of his house and went in with a deep frown. This was because the mission accomplishment window had not popped up yet. He could only wonder why it did not pop up. Could it be that he had not completed his mission after all? Little Chen, what made you return so late? As soon as he entered, his mom, who was decluttering and cleaning the house, shouted out a question. I went for a stroll at Xingxiang Park, Mom, replied Bei Chen. Oh, you were walking around the park. Okay then, hurry up and go take a shower first before you come down for dinner, his mom responded. Okay, Mom. The boy nodded to his mother before walking upstairs. He showered hurriedly, changed his clothes, and went down to have dinner with his parents. After finishing their meal, Bei Chen returned to his room on the second floor. He was feeling quite down because it looked like Mission 4 was not complete yet. The success window still had not popped up. He sat on his bed and was about to open the system to see what was going on, but a mission accomplishment window suddenly appeared. Ding! Dash! Mission complete. Mission 4, save a genius young lady who is going blind, success. Reward: you have received 30 points and the opportunity to receive special skills or items at random. Dash. Bei Chen blinked, looking at the transparent white window that had appeared with a relieved expression. He sighed a little. He could not help but feel excited. This time he had gotten himself a lot of points and one chance for randomization. Not wanting to waste any more time, Bei Chen quickly opened the life-changing system window to check. Dash. The life-changing system. User: Bei Chen. Age: 18 years old. Level: 1, 71/100ths. Description: you still need 30 points to level up. Instruction: if you wish to change your life to what you have always wanted, proceed with the following missions. Mission Dashboard. Mission 5, take a night's rest, 5 points. Mission 6, solve a problem you encounter in the morning, 10 points. Further instruction: the order of mission completion is irrelevant. After you are done with the tasks assigned to you, you will be given a chance to receive special skills or items at random. The skills or items will give you a better life. You have one opportunity to get special skills or items at random. Dash. After checking the detail window, the corners of Bei Chen's mouth lifted up into a smile. 30 points left, and I'll level up. Now, please give me a nice item. He chose the randomize feature without hesitation. Bei Chen pressed his fingertip onto the roulette wheel. A roulette wheel with alternating red and black pockets appeared, with the words skills or item written on them. Bei Chen did not waste time. He quickly pressed the button in the center of the roulette wheel. The roulette wheel began to spin rapidly. Many seconds later, it started to slow down and stopped at the Skills tab. Ding. Dash. Congratulations, you have received a low-grade martial arts technique. Bei Chen's eyes widened with surprise. He had never thought that he would gain a special skill. This was all quite different from his expectation, as he wanted special items more. Never thought I would get a special skill. He, nevertheless, could not help but check the description of the low-grade martial arts technique, because this was the first time that he had ever received a special skill. Dash. Low-grade martial arts technique. Description: a long time ago, a young master of the Huazan sect created this martial arts technique. It has powerful punching and kicking combat moves. Those who practice this technique are believed to have a strong steel-like body that cannot be hurt either by knives or by swords. However, it is just a small part of the whole technique, thus making it of a low grade. Grades of special skills: low, medium, high, supreme. Dash. As soon as his eyes swept across the description, his brain was flooded with different types of combat moves. There was quite a lot of knowledge, and it made him feel as if he had been trained with this technique for a really long time. So, this is what it's like getting a special skill, he mumbled to himself with great surprise. Bei Chen had never imagined that this was how it would be. Now he was quite sure that he would be able to take down 20 to 30 hooligans very easily. His eyes were filled with joy. Having the ability to fight would help him protect both himself and his parents. If he had to fight Ba Guan, who had previously hidden illegal drugs in his room in accordance with Wang Chenyi's orders, it would definitely be a piece of cake. After learning the low-grade martial arts technique, Bei Chen clicked to see details of the new mission. He chose to look at Mission 6, but not Mission 5, because he had already seen it. Dash. Mission 6, solve a problem you encounter in the morning. Instructions: You'll run into a problem tomorrow morning. Please resolve it. Reward for success, win 10 points. Penalty for failure, none. Dash. Reading through the details of the mission made him frown a little, because this mission did not clearly lay out specific details about what he had to do like the previous ones. It told him to solve a problem, but would not tell him what the problem would be. But it probably won't be that difficult because it's only worth 10 points. Despite being a bit curious about the new mission, Bei Chen did not think that it would be hard to solve, because the reward that he would get was only 10 points. The past missions had made him more aware of how the mission mechanics worked, with one of the rules being, the more points given, the tougher the mission would be.